Hello lovelies and welcome back once again to Doomsday! It's been a while admittedly, and I'd like to say that it's because I've been busy with real life, but the truth is lovelies, the real meat and gristle of the matter is that episode 4, Thy Flesh Consumed, scares the fucking shit out of me. Alright, so maybe not that bad, but it's certainly a damn sight harder than anything else you'll find in this game and truly puts the ultimate into the ultimate Doom. Enough stalling. It's time to grow a pair and jump into the devil's arsehole. Thy Flesh Consumed, Ultra Violence, commence. Alright, let's start by taking a lump out of these bastards. There we go. Welcome to episode 4, map 1, Hell Beneath. Son, you ain't fucking kidding. Now, as you can immediately see, this level's hook is that it's a tiny map that is continually flooded with monsters that warp in without warning. Sometimes smack bang in front of your face if you're not careful. Now, among the 60 plus enemies jumping out of thin fucking air at you are 5 Hell Barons, which of course is very bad news in a stage with a pickup itinerary that only gives you 10 bullets, 12 shotgun shells, 20 rockets and a measly 9 points of health. 9 points. If you get badly hurt at any point, you're in real fucking trouble, let me tell you. And you see, they don't even give you the rockets in open play. You have to hurt yourself getting to the secret to grab them. We're not playing around anymore, lovelies. Thy Flesh Consumed on Ultra Violent is a ridiculous challenge when compared to anything found in the original 3 episodes of Doom, and this map, in my humble opinion, is the very worst of it. You have to keep moving or you are Webster's definition of a fucking corpse, I promise you. The red key's inside that little keep in the middle of the slime pool there. Pop inside once we've cleared out the perimeter. You might as well grab all the health now because once you hurt, you know, so. It's so difficult to even survive this onslaught, let alone walk out without your character portrait looking like he's been tortured by the mafia. There he is, fuck me. All we can do here is try and damage him a little and stay out of his way. If we can get around him and lure him back downstairs, he'll usually teleport outside, which makes things a lot more simple. There we go. Now we can pick him off with a couple of well-placed rockets. Bleed, man, cow! Bleed! Ooh, there's the ticket. A lot of players rank the next map, Perfect Hatred, as the hardest of the entire 4 episodes, and to be fair, it works on a similar sort of principle. The map's a lot bigger, but it just relentlessly hurls monsters at you and gives you very limited room to maneuver, but the key difference is that there's plenty of ammo in that stage if you know where to look for it. If you can get past the first minute or so, it's not so bad. Here you're just constantly starving. One of these fuckers always tries to flank you from the other side. Where you going, shithead? Blue key's just behind here, and then we need to trigger a boss load of spectres so we don't get mobbed coming out of here. We'll need to escape this room very, very quickly in a moment, and you'll see why. I'm sitting on 75% health at the minute, which is actually really, really bloody good. I've had much worse runs than this. Much, much worse. I guess the nicest thing I can say about Hell Beneath is that it's got my favourite music track of the entire series on it. Sign of Evil. What a beast that is. The soundtrack to this game was pretty much the biggest reason I picked up the electric guitar when I was a kid. That and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. You know that tune by Extreme that plays when the historical figures are wrecking up the shopping precinct? Or the mall, as I'm sure many of you call it. Alright, hit this torch for the second secret, and you're not going to see it because I'm about to run for my fucking life, but it's actually the logo for the band 9 Inch Nails that comes rising out of the ground. You should have been able to hear while I'm leaving so quickly. That's the sound of 4 Hell Barons spawning in one room. As much as I'd love to kill him, I just do not have the ammo for it. I could conceivably lure him over to where I killed the first one and bomb him with rockets, but honestly, going into Perfect Hatred with no ammo is bordering on suicide. I've got 65% health, I've got 95% armor. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's cash out while we're on top, eh? Here we go then, we're halfway through the hard part, but here comes the other half. Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O God, depart from me therefore, ye bloody men. For they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred, I count them mine enemies. Such is the Bible verse from which this infamous map takes its name, and by bloody goodness, does it do a marvellous job of summing it up. This is really the worst of it, compounded by your probable lack of health and firepower from the previous stages. You're reduced to the role of a carny at a paintball shooting gallery, with everything from sergeants to imps to cacodemons using you for target practice on this tiny little ledge. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You have very little option except to wipe them out. You can drop down into the lava, as there's a rad suit down there and we're heading down to grab a soul sphere. But it's a better idea to save yourself some rockets from the first level and cluster as many of the flying fuckers together as you can to take them out quickly. And once you've done that, you got a chance to breathe. And that's really the difference between this and Hell Beneath. Hell Beneath is fucking relentless. You can't even save scum your way through that one for the uncertainty that you've just saved with a pair of Hell Barons about to materialise behind you. None of that sadistic nonsense here. But you do have to keep your wits about you because this map requires a lot of sprint jumping and it's so easy to overshoot the tiny little platforms that you're expected to run to. Little trick here, there's a switch in the pit you can actually throw from up on the ledge. That's a trick you can use all the way through the game because in Doom, as long as you're adjacent to where a switch is, it doesn't matter what height you're at relatively when you throw it. We'll be back this way in just a second, but first we need to hop over here and clear this little window out. That's our first secret of the map in there, and the lava pit where we just were is our doorway in, but we certainly don't want to go toe to toe with this mob now, do we? Let's light these barons up with a few rockets. What do you say? There you go, shitface. Eat up. Of all the maps in Doom, this was actually the one that took the shortest time to make from start to finish. It's a sadistic John Romero effort, the likes of which we would not see again until his ferocious reimagining of the Phobos anomaly from a couple of years ago. He apparently began at midnight and finished at 6 AM. Righto. Before we descend, we'll grab ourselves the plasma rifle just sitting innocently out in the open. Not bait for a trap at all, you say? Ha! You fool, you mark, you slow learner. No, this weapon comes at a dreadful cost, in that you must use practically all of it to subvert the very unpleasant threat of a Hell Baron's balls in your face. 3 of his bodies across the way taking pot shots at you. 12 Barons in this level and all, making it the most in any Ultimate Doom map. On their own, not so bad. In gangs, an absolute ammo-sponging rectal cramp from which you will not soon recover. Let's go get our secret. You have to step in the little lava triangle here to open it, which I didn't do adequately enough, it would seem. Oh fucking hell. What an idiot. Alright, well there's enough in here to pop us up to 100% health at least. A berserk power-up that I promise you we won't be using here. And through this teleporter, a mega armor which puts us in a slightly healthier position than we were. So all in all, decent first half of the map. That's right, we're about halfway through this fucking nightmare already. Easy peasy, eh? Don't know what all the fuss is about. Now if you go back the way you came, this time the teleporter warps you back to the starting position, as now we have the yellow key, we can start clearing out the right side of this hideous cave of abominations. Which we're gonna do with rockets because, like, I'm basically sharing working conditions with a tightrope walker here. There's only so long I can dodge this shit. These lost souls are the killer. Get out of it, you big head! You big face on fire. Right, here we go. Now this is my most hated part of the level. For some it's the start, for some it's the very end, for some it's all the sprinting onto the catwalks, but for me it's this shit. For so many reasons. The biggest is that you're straight away forced to awkwardly snipe at the Baron just below you without being able to really see where he is half the time because your goddamn gun is blocking the way. But then you don't want to get too close to the edge because you might eat one of his fireballs. And while you're trying to do that, you've got spectres and a cacodemon drifting in and chewing up your ammo because of the fucking auto aim, so you're accidentally blasting the torches, blasting the ground, blasting the bloody walls, and you might just think, well, stop being a pussy and drop down there. But if you do that, you trigger another wave of spectres, and more cacodemons, and yet another Hell Baron, so no, not a good idea. Nothing you do in this area is a good idea. It does have a chainsaw though, I'm all about that. Oh Cheney, the flesh chewing friend, My paroxysmic pal festively carving my foes into Christmas dinner. Cheney's thirsty scumfucks. Cheney's gagging for a pint of your fucking neck juice. Drink deep, Cheney. I'll open a tab. Ah, we're in serious fucking trouble now, aren't we? Careful. Careful. Please don't blast me in the face. Oh no, the lost souls have started leaking out. That's not good. I'm not gonna lie, gang. This may have turned into something of a disaster. We might be in for our first death of the run here. No, come on. Throw some balls, fraggers. Come on. We're not dead yet. We can turn this around. Eat pulsating blue shit. If I'm gonna die, you better have a crowbar handy because you're gonna have a hell of a job pulling my stone cold dead dick out of your ass! Or neck hole. Or wherever. No health or ammo magically spawned while my back was turned, did it? No? No. Never does. Howdy. Good lord, it's not often I'm down to 14% of anything in this game. Son Irving. I look like Nate Diaz when a strong breeze picks up. Come on then, cowards. Oop, don't step in the lava pit, that'd be a good start, wouldn't it? Alright, if we can just get across here without falling in the drink, there's a whole stairway full of health packs to get us back up to speed. There we are. Just wipe out these pinkies. Now, I told you before that some players choose the end of this map as their least favourite section, and you're about to see why. Oh, shit in your silk boxes! It's a cyber demon and a gang of his floaty pals. See, when you step on that platform, you open up a teleporter down here, which actually teleports you inside the big fucker. Of course, now you're trapped in there with a gang of cacodemons, but the BFG helps with that, and we quickly dash down here for the hidden exit to the secret level. Woo! And there you have it. Would have loved to stay around to kill them all because there was some very handy plasma ammo in the room behind them, but that door's on a timer that we were cutting close on already, so better to hit up the secret map, I think. Now, if you're careful, you can come out of this with a fair bit of ammo to your name, but we're not being careful, are we? This is a nice leisurely stage. I mean, it's still pretty intense, don't get me wrong, but compared to what we've had to deal with so far, this is a package holiday to Brighton. Once again, the very beginning is the hardest part, but you're essentially just wiping out arenas here. Nothing you're not already used to by now. And design-wise, it's a welcome return to the UAC military complex style of the first episode. There's only so much abstract hell I can take in one sitting. Now, it's worth noting that if we were truly playing the series in chronological order, then we should be playing Doom 2 before we played any of this episode, because Thy Flesh Consumed came out as a part of the Ultimate Doom in 1995, the year after Doom 2's release. It was kind of thrown together while ID were working on other stuff, the sequel included, and going through it you can see that while in a lot of places the map design has matured, it lacks any sort of cohesive theme or even difficulty curve of any kind going forward. It does just feel a lot more like a level pack that got thrown out as a special feature rather than any sort of fluent episode in its own right. And a lot of Doom fans truly dislike it for that. I don't blame them, frankly, but when you played as many shitty user WODs as I have, you're kind of grateful to come back to this, even if it is a bit of a sexy mess. You might as well grab the mega armor and all that while we're here. Worst part's over now. Or is it? Am I just stringing you along, playing on your fear? What do you fear? I'm unnerved by birds and social situations personally, and this level has neither, so it's a bit of a miss-sell for me. But I once knew a dude who was deathly afraid of dogs. I mean, I didn't know him directly, he was a friend of a friend that hung out with us a few times, and he was a really kind of outspoken, loud kind of guy. I didn't care for him much, quite honestly. I'm not joking when I say I'm a pretty socially anxious person. If I don't know you, I'm just dead quiet. I like my own space unless I'm comfortable with you. Anyway, we were walking along this footpath right next to a river, and as I say, this dude was scared shitless of anything more aggressive looking than a poodle. So, I saw the blood literally drain from his face first, and then I saw this huge, and I mean huge for its breed, Staffordshire Terrier around in the corner, off its leash with its owner about 20 feet behind it. Like, this Staffy must have been crossed with something for the size of it. A train, maybe. It looked like a mid-game boss. And this guy turns to just run, but unbeknownst to him, at some point, an old lady walking a prehistoric-sized bull mastiff had joined the path behind us, and now he's sandwiched between what he sees as two thick-cut slices of hell on legs. So what would you do in that situation? Where do you go? I mean, we were telling him to chill, but we might as well have been telling him to grow wings, fly to Osaka, and bring us back some sushi for all the good that was doing him. So, I shit you not, he turned and he jumped straight into the fucking river. He started swimming for the far bank. Now, of course, the Staffy has seen this and either thinks he wants to play, or his prey drive instinct has just kicked into fifth gear like a motherfucker. So this thing just drives for the water, plunges in, and the dude is just screaming at this point, screaming at the top of his damn lungs. The Mastiff's getting all kinds of excited, barking and pulling on its lead, and it's basically me, my two friends, and this guy's girlfriend standing there watching like some low-budget version of Jaws going down in this grimy river, with the Staffy paddling towards him and the guy doing this kind of, well, I don't know what you call it. It was definitely an original style of swimming that consisted of a lot of windmilling and kicking to get himself to the bank. It worked though, and I guess the only thing that saved him was that the bank was too high for the dog to scramble onto. But I'd just never seen anybody that terrified of anything before. Outside of acid trips, maybe. I mean, I quit acid pretty much right after I saw the movie The Ring, because I knew how that shit was going to play out, you know? That's an experience I don't need to have as a human being. Christ only knows how I managed to keep that fucking T-Rex attack from Jurassic Park out of my goddamn hallucinations for 7 or 8 years. Or however the fuck long I was smoking, drinking and swallowing my youth away. I'm sorry, am I being too candid here? Should we talk about some more Doom stuff? Let's do that. You don't want to hear about anything incriminating, do you? Of course you don't. I honestly remember all this being a hell of a lot worse than it actually was, being honest. I think this is my least played of all the Doom episodes. Whenever I do a run, I usually only go for the first 3 and then I stop because I just think, ah man, it's late. Can't be bothered to give myself a fucking heart attack playing Die Flesh Consumed tonight. And that's that, but I definitely remember those first 2 levels being a lot rougher. I don't know if a lot of the decline of the episode's difficulty is more of a modern thing, because Doom on higher difficulties is really nothing to fuck with if you're coming off the back of a modern FPS full of checkpoints and health regen and whatever else. They're very forgiving in general. But then I find Doom and old school shooters in general way less stressful to play than something like Call of Duty on Veteran, because those games force you to just stop every 2 bloody seconds and have a protracted tit-for-tat pot-shot contest with a bunch of insurgents half a mile away that you can barely see, but there every shot sends you scream potty like somebody's giving you the old Carrie White prom night special with a pig's blood. I mean, it's a pain in the fucking arse, isn't it? Let's be honest. Nobody plays on Veteran for the fun of it, they do it for bloody achievements. Nobody fires up Mile High Club from the first Modern Warfare on the hardest setting after a long day at the office and goes, I'm really looking forward to this next hour of staring at my own face being shot off for no real reason. Or even worse, World at War. Can't wait to live out that nightmare I had where it rains grenades instead of water. Oh boy. Come on. At least in this game you know where you went wrong if you died. It's your fault. In World at War, where you went wrong is you dared to fucking exist. You're gonna make me play that now, aren't you? Please don't. It won't even be funny rage. You think you get slow upload weeks from me now, you wait until I have to do it from prison. Right, let's make our way out. Wherever the fuck that is. As I say, these are the maps I'm least familiar with. In fact, this map right here is the exact one I'm the least familiar with, because on the rare occasion I do go for the 4th episode, I hardly ever bother playing through the secret stage. Fun fact though, the very first time I played episode 4, I thought this was the 3rd map. Because on Perfect Hatred I saw the Cyber Demon, shit my pants and ran away. Basically ran straight into the secret exit thinking that was the normal exit for the level. And it just made sense with how brutal the rest of that map was, that the exit would be in a tiny little alcove in the middle of the lava pit. But it's done now, no map screen for episode 4 either. Boo! They just use a colour swap of the intermission screen from Doom 2. Sever the Wicked up next. We're going balls deep into this one, lovelies. Goodness, yes we are. You know, in some ways, I think this might be a worse opening than Perfect Hatred, because you really are getting it from all sides here, so you have to move with a fair degree of urgency. I like to carve a path through the meat of the fuckers with a plasma rifle, like so, and then on my way back I'll use the chain gun to just mop up a little bit. We'll be in and out of this outside area a couple of times anyway, so we'll catch any stragglers when we next surface. It's those bloody hit-scanny bastard sergeants that poke away at your health from the other side of the river or up in the towers that are the pain in this level, as well as the Baron of Hell behind the gate lobbing his green snot rags at you. This is a riff and a half, this, isn't it? Deep Into the Code, it's called. Apparently named after John Carmack's all-night programming sessions where he would respond to nothing outside of excruciating violence exacted on his head and neck. I think Rage was the last game he worked on properly. He has something to do with a cancelled version of Doom 4, but he's at Oculus now, designing the future of VR. Do you see this shit ever taking off properly? I can't, fundamentally, okay, the biggest, and I mean absolute biggest problem with VR gaming is that gamers like sitting on their asses to play games. And yeah, you might get them up for 10 minutes or some Wii bowling or whatever, but largely nobody short of an Olympic fucking athlete is going to have the stamina to run a 5-hour Call of Duty marathon on their feet. That's not going to happen. Think of it in terms of books. You know, people who like books and like reading don't want to do it while they're running around the damn room, do they? They want to sit down with a book in their hands and read the bloody thing. Chill out for a bit. Or how about watching a movie? Hey man, I see you're enjoying Suicide Squad. Somehow, would you like to watch it from inside the fucking movie? Not really. Run over here, you're missing all the dialogue. Well, fuck me, this is exhausting. That's how I feel. I don't claim to be an industry expert because we all know industry experts don't actually play video games. All I can do is speak as somebody that actually does play games. And I like doing it on my arse. I remember when the damn Kinect came out. I had people on forums going to me, "This is the future, man! Imagine Battlefield in VR! Imagine actually diving to avoid bullets with your real body!" Like, Jesus Christ almighty, how long before you actually kill yourself? How long before you fire up World at War on Veteran and jump out your fucking bedroom window trying to avoid a million grenades? Ah, fuck, I should have run in there while I was invincible. There's a couple of Hell Barons on either side of this lift. Yeah. It's alright, I can still hit him with a BFG. Fuck, I left that late. Fuckity fuck. What a balls up. I'm playing like shit today, I swear to God. Absolute shit. You know, I never much got on with the name of this level. Sever the Wicked. Doesn't sound right. Doesn't sit quite... It makes sense from a grammatical standpoint and everything, but it's a bit like comb the jelly or marry the pavement. Doesn't quite, you know... Oh, for fuck's sake. Didn't mean to do that either. There's usually more of them. And the next one's not great either. Unruly Evil, it's called. Unruly Evil. You've had Hell Beneath, Perfect Hatred, Fear, and now you must face Unruly Evil. That's a bit underwhelming. Hair is unruly. School children are unruly. Evil's just, what, refusing to do its homework? We've got to bust in there and put Evil in after school detention now. This is kind of a unique secret coming up here. We just grab all these rockets. Rockets, rockets, rockets. Yum, yum, yum. So, you go through this wall here, and every single step, I think there's about 19 of them, count as their own secret. I don't know how you'd really miss any of them going up, so I'm not sure what the point of that is, but this is the first map of the episode where it's impossible to get 100% on your secrets tally. The last secret is actually where we just came from, and you should be able to open it by humping one of the torches against the wall, but it won't trigger, so unless you're cheating with a no-clip code, you ain't getting it. Does it again in the second to last map as well, so it just goes to show you how well play-tested some of this shit was before it got thrown out. And this is one of the few levels from Die Flesh Consumed that actually made it into the PlayStation and Saturn ports. It's kind of surprising that Perfect Hatred got in there because that map is plagued with absolutely hideous slowdown on consoles. It's not quite as bad on the PlayStation port, but the Saturn version is nearly unplayable. We will get onto the PlayStation port at some point because although it does kind of gut the original game, it does have some pretty awesome changes and quirks. I think I've said before that it's like a remix of the first two games. It's got a bunch of very decent exclusive levels, including one set in a mansion and one called Club Doom, which is just fucking nuts. Final Doom on the PlayStation is bad though. We're going nowhere near that piece of shit. Alright, there you go. First half of Die Flesh Consumed down. See you in a couple of weeks for the grand finale.
Prehistoric bitch, how we do things downtown.